Hey, Dr. Wilson. This is Mike. And to those who may, um, this is my extra credit for this class, and I'm doing so in my patio where I live. Extremely blessed to be able to do it outside, even though it's the middle of May and I'm wearing a sweater. But nonetheless, I'm grateful to be able to share what are some tips and tricks for Greek studies and just what are some of the things that have sustained me through this year, as well as some of the stuff that you should avoid. If I'm doing the extra credit, chances are I didn't do everything right. So my doing this kind of shows that I've made some mistakes along the way. My grade reflects it, therefore I need extra credit. Um, but I just hope that this is a fruitful time for whoever's observing, and um, you'll be able to kind of pick up on some of the things I've done wrong, so that you can avoid them in your journey with Greek. And I'll share some of the things that have helped me um, kind of make it along and not suffer terribly grade wise. So first, I want to start with things not to do. All right, so the top of my list is, much to my shame that I've done it a couple times, studying the morning of and winging it. Avoid it. Avoid it at all costs. Um, there's just no way. There's no way you're gonna do it. Even when you're a little more advanced uh, along the semester, just don't do it. It's not helpful. It's not beneficial. Uh, to be frank, Dr. Wilson likes to throw in some curveballs, especially with translating sentences. So just don't do it. Which leads to my next point. Just you know, making not making enough time to study. Super important, and I'll share a little bit more about that later. But yeah, no winging. Commit time to it. The second thing that I would share is don't don't lose sight of the end goal. That happened a couple times for me during this year, both semesters. Um, and in all reality, the goal for this class really is not to necessarily become a better scholar, right, or a better preacher, because now you can exegete the text at a different level than those who have not taken Greek. But really, the goal for this class is to grow in the knowledge and wisdom of Jesus Christ. And whether it's through Dr. Wilson's devotionals that he'll share in class, or through just some of your studies on your own, man, that text um, comes alive, and some of the nuances and things that you'll come across in the Greek language, if you allow it to mold and shape your heart, would really benefit you in your walk with the Lord, and then from that place you really have something to offer, whether future students, um, ministries, congregations that you may serve, and organizations and whatnot. So yeah, don't lose sight. Don't lose sight. My third thing not to do is to fail to roommates or family. Involve them sooner than later, and get a community around you of people that could better help you along this path. Because the reality is, whether it's accountability with other students in the classroom, or if it's just your own family and involving them, which I'll allude to more later on. I'll explain a little bit further, but um, yeah, don't fail in that area. Involve people soon and early on, and make it an experience. I mean, this is Greek, and for those of you who may not be considering taking seminary level courses later on, this is kind of your one crack at it. A little Chicago slang for you. I mean, this is your one shot at really getting to be exposed to this beautiful language that has so much just depth to it, that it could really rock your world. And why not share that with some people, and especially gain some accountability to make sure that you are on top of your studies, and that you are benefiting the most from your Greek education as possible. So those are kind of a couple things of what not to do. So now I'll get to share a couple things that you should do. The first thing on my list that really turned everything for me with my Greek studies and whatnot was just reviewing vocab daily. Um, whether you're on the throne, you know what I mean. Just take a few minutes if you're getting ready, as you're drinking your coffee in the morning, and hopefully not sleeping in, as some of you younger bucks like to do and run to class last minute. Uh, Take some time in the morning, just review it, even if it's just 10, 15 minutes tops, but you're still going through your vocab, just refreshing your mind and whatnot, especially when they start to take different forms and whatnot. Having some familiarity with the root stems and whatnot definitely goes a long way. So you want to just have those words in mind. Second, commit time to it. I alluded to this in the first, but you have to commit time to this. Dr. Wilson, if he hasn't said it already, he will tell you how you handle this class in particular can really set you up for the rest of your academic career, whether undergrad or graduate level. The time that you commit to this, the time that you focus on it, the habits that you develop now can really, really benefit your academics moving forward, as well as ministries and really life in general. Being able to prioritize and being able to just organize, your time and prioritize your studies will really go a long way. Um, a kind of personal tip for vocab for me was word association. I say that I'm really emphasizing vocab because, um, you know, word to the wise, that's going to really set you. I mean, that's majority of the points in your quizzes, majority of the points in your exams. And for myself, I may have butchered translating sentences a little here and there, but because I would have a general sense of the word, of its definition and whatnot, it would go a long way. So if you're going to focus on anything just because you're limited with time, I mean, we are in college, right? Focus mainly on your vocab. If you can lock in your vocab, you can really get some good work done and get some good credit on quizzes and exams. But yeah, word association is super helpful. I mean, really, that's all it is. Looking for certain words that uh, would kind of reflect, um, you know, kind of words in English and whatnot. And I can't really think too much of uh, words off the top of my head, but yeah, you'll come across that some like presbyteros, right? Like presbytery and elder, whatnot. Like we'll have some of those in there that'll kind of make sense as you look at the word form. Um, and yeah, you're just gonna find some associations for it. Get your family involved. I know I said this a little bit earlier, but I want to give you some specific examples. So for us married folk, um, like my wife, praise the Lord, she's able to stay home with our little ones. And I asked her, I said, honey, if you would like for me to be able to spend more time with you guys and less time studying, a good way to help me would be to actually write my vocab words for me on flashcards in advance, which is another tip, right? Flashcards. But just by her being able to do that, it would save me, even if it was 15, 20 minutes writing them down and whatnot. It was super helpful, and it actually served me huge. I mean, immensely, to be able to just have those flashcards tucked in my book with the chapter, and it was just like, bam, it's right there. I could go right into studying it. Another thing that we would do is she would actually quiz me on those vocab words in the car as we would drive to whatever we had to do. So if we were going to our community group, or if we were driving to church and I had an exam that Monday or something like that, she would quiz me along the way. And we live kind of far on the south side. That's 40 minutes or so of just going through vocab words, and the the hilarious thing is she ended up memorizing some words and whatnot just because of the helping me. So even in that respect, it blessed her and benefited her to be able to help me. And And if I could just share a quick kind of couple nuggets of wisdom, this is now that pastoral heart in me that um, if I could really leave anything with the next couple generations of Greek students, um, the first thing is involve your spouse. Involve your spouse in what you're studying and in what the Lord is teaching you and showing you. Um, Involve them in it. Involve them in it. Let them know that they are a partner, that they are a co-laborer with you in the proclamation of the gospel, but also in your preparation, um, in your time here studying and whatnot. So involve them. Let them know that there's a place for them. You know what I mean? In what the Lord's doing in your heart, in your life, in your studies. Um, and that way it feels a lot less like, sorry about it. It feels a lot less like um, robbing them of their time, but it's rather more so that you're involving them, um, and really trying to take more of a holistic approach to this studying, whether it's Greek or any other class for that matter. But when you find fun ways like quizzing in the car and whatnot, and you're able to involve your spouse, your significant other, um, it just becomes a lot less like schoolwork, and really becomes more of a bonding experience. So I just want to encourage you in that. And if I could leave you with one last nugget, if you have to choose your family or your studies, choose your family. This may seem kind of counter to Moody culture, and hopefully Dr. Wilson will agree with me once I explain a little bit further. But Dr. Mike Boyle, who this is his last year, the semester that I'm recording this, um, for those of us who are going into the pastorate, like myself and many of you in that room, we could have A's and B's in Greek. Um, we could have extremely well-off grades and whatnot, and honors and all kinds of things, and have a broken family, and we'll never get an opportunity to serve in ministry. Um, those were his words, and his counsel was try your best to strike a balance. Find a balance where you can serve your family, serve them well, love them, spend time with them. And then if you have to make it up by staying up a little bit later to study and whatnot, then do so. That's the price we have to pay in this season, especially if we're married with kids. Um, Sometimes you're not going to be able to involve them all the way in your studies. If I'm translating sentences, they're not going to be much hope at that point. But if you're studying some vocabulary or something, and like my little 3-year-old's banging on the window right now, and she's up here trying to get my attention, it's choose your family and trust that the Lord will honor that. Um, my prayer throughout this whole semester is, Lord, grace me with the ability to be able to recollect what I've been able to study and look at for a half hour or so, to do well, not just in the class, but to do well in my life and in this race. So if I could just leave that encouragement with you guys, um, have fun. Have fun. Greek is hard. I mean, it's crazy, crazy difficult. And second semester Greek is no walk in the park. But by the grace of God, um, to His glory, um, I pray that you'll do well. I pray that you'll involve those around you to help you in this brief kind of sprint, if you will, in the leg of the race. Um, and just seek to serve the Lord well. Um, he has granted you something that I'm sure thousands of others, would love the opportunity to study Greek at Moody Bible Institute. And God, in His sovereignty, has allowed you this opportunity. Don't take it lightly. Do well, strive, run this race hard. And I pray that the Lord will bless you all along the way. Thanks for your time.